Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to continue the urban sketching series. Now it's been a while since I actually did a video on the series, and I figured this topic would be best discussed with this. I could have discussed this with any other topic in drawing actually, but I felt like it related to drawing outdoors a lot more than others, because when you go outside and you're drawing and you're looking at a scene, it can be pretty overwhelming. You know, there's a lot of information, there's a lot of details, and this video is going to focus on giving you tips on how to simplify things, how to reduce what you see, and just capture just some simple information, just enough to engage yourself with what you're seeing. And you'll find that when you do this, it makes it a lot more fun. There's a lot less pressure. You enjoy it a lot more, and that's one of the key things, especially with urban sketching, you know, or just drawing outdoors in general. Like, you know, sketching outdoors should be fun and relaxing and therapeutic. It shouldn't be a lot of tension or a lot of pressure on yourself. You should just relax and have fun. So before I continue, I just want to thank everyone for supporting my book. It's meant so much. The feedback I've gotten, you know, the support I've gotten has just been overwhelming, and I thank you so much. You know, especially even for those who left a comment on Amazon, I really appreciate it. It means so much to me, because, you know, it's like real feedback, you know. So there's a couple things that I'm working on. I'm going to be sharing with you in the near future, but for now, just thanks so much. The Kindle version, definitely working on that, getting the formatting and everything ready. You can look forward to that as well. So, you know, again, thanks so much, everyone. I really appreciate it. Okay, here's a little printout of a picture that I've taken, right? So this is just a simple street corner. But if you're going to do a little sketch of this, like, there's a lot of information here. You could have actually captured this building. You could capture, you know, just to give you an idea of what I mean. Say I'm gonna draw, or I'm gonna sketch here, all right? So you don't have to be concerned with trying to capture everything the way it is. You know, you just have to practice relaxing a little bit. So, for example, when I say simplify, what do I mean? Well, you simplify, for example, the shapes of things. You simplify the lines that you see. You simplify textures. You simplify values. Those are the things, details. Those are some of the things that you not force yourself to capture. You know what I mean? So, for example, I'm doing this. You know, I'm not concerned with getting everything perfect. And if you notice, my lines are not even perfect. They're not straight. They're kind of loose. And that's fine, you know. And I feel like it's very important that you try to be as playful as possible. You know, let your lines wander a little bit. They don't have to match up. Things don't have to be completely straight. You can even ignore the values. Just like I said, you know, values are one of the things that you can simplify. So what does that mean? That means you don't have to be concerned with, okay, here is darker than here. You may ignore that completely, especially if you are intending to eventually, you know, maybe add watercolor or something like that. As a matter of fact, I think that's going to be the next video in this series, applying watercolor to your sketches, your outdoor sketches, you know. So notice how loose my my approach here is, and I'm not trying to be like accurate. There's some information that I'm omitting deliberately, you know, just to keep the drawing simple. You know what I mean? So like for the wires here, I may just add one or two. I may just put one in that I think is actually more interesting to me, and I'll leave it at that. You know, you want to be really loose and comfortable, and find a pace that works for you. You know, you may find that you may want to draw faster than this. That's fine. You know, once you're pleased with the result, and I think sometimes it takes some experimentation to really get to the point where you feel comfortable enough to say, okay, yeah, I think I am more comfortable drawing at this pace. And that's something that you should practice. You know, practice seeing what kind of a pace gets you the best results, because everybody is not, you know, the same in terms of their approach with a particular subject. See, and that may be enough, you know? So it's like, you have fun with it, you know? Don't be so serious and where you have to make sure your lines are perfectly straight. The lines have to be, you know, lined up. No, you just have fun with it. You know, even when it comes to drawing trees, you know, you have to, for example, do I have one here with a tree? Okay, like this, you know? You may just feel like capturing the overall shape. So that's one of the things that I was mentioning, you know, simplifying shape, simplifying the texture. You may just be concerned with the contour and not so much the details, and that's fine. You know, try to capture the shape or the feel of the tree. Sometimes the details are what's important, and in that case, you may focus on that. In another case, the detail may not be that important, and it may just be the direction of the tree, you know? Even like with this, another point I was making about simplifying values may just be and that's what I mean, you know, simplifying what you're seeing. See here, it may just be capturing that, and that's enough. You know, it's the same way like if you're drawing like a scene outdoors where you're seeing like a mountain range. You know, focus on the simple things, the overall shape, you know, if you see like there's a pattern in the way things are arranged, you know, that may be what you may focus on, but don't get, you know, too caught up with getting all the details correctly. It's the same thing with clouds. Like a lot of times I feel like sometimes people will not draw clouds because they're intimidating. You know, you can simplify them and make the process a lot easier for yourself. Let's say I'm going to add some clouds over here. It may just simply be and that's it, you know? And that's it. It's the same thing even with dealing with water. I know a lot of people would, you know, shy away from depicting scenes with water because they're intimidated, you know. And that's the thing, like I'm saying, you know, try not to be too caught up with getting things perfectly accurate. And that's the thing that will make you be intimidated and not try to experiment with certain subjects that you may find afterwards. It's not as difficult as you think. You know, when you're doing reflections, you can have, if you have a way of depicting reflections, you know, that may apply to many drawings, and that takes the pressure off, you know, depicting that in another subject. In other words, try to find not necessarily a formula, but some way that enables you to take the pressure off yourself from approaching a subject. See what I mean? So if you know that, okay, when I'm drawing water, you know, lines like these may work. You know, if I'm doing a reflection, I'm going to have, even if you're doing a little puddle, you're doing a puddle, something just that simple. You know, sometimes it's the little things, the simple things that communicates the most. Just a few lines, and that's it. You see what I mean? You know, you want to find simple ways. Just try, and sometimes, to be honest, you'll have to discover that on your own. You know, so you may have to play around with things. Okay, what is like a simple way I could depict that reflection? You know, could I use, what shape could I think of like that would capture water? Let's see, something like that. Does that work? How about if I do this? That works a little bit. What about if I combine them? What about a little shape? What if I do something like this? What if I use long and short ones? And that's what you do in your sketchbooks. You know, that's the type of stuff you practice. Just don't, to be honest, I don't like seeing sketchbooks where every page is just a perfect drawing. Because it leaves me to think, like, where do you practice this stuff? Like, how did you learn to do this? You know, and that's what I think a sketchbook should be about. You know, that's where you show your imperfections. Like, before you learn how to draw the nose, where did you learn how to draw the nose? You know, where did you practice drawing? Or were you just you know, were you just born with this ability? You know, so practice doing this stuff in simple ways, trying to find a visual language that can be your way of interpreting things. Comes from learning how to simplify reality. And the thing is, it's somewhat like cartooning, but not necessarily, because like with cartooning, you know, you have a set formula for simplifying things. So in other words, you know, like a typical cartoon character may have, like, you know, 3 fingers, you know. Now when you're sketching and you're simplifying something, it may at one point appear to have 3 fingers. Sometimes it may appear to have 1. Sometimes it may appear to have none. You see what I mean? So it's not a set or a specifically stylized way of simplifying things, but it can be. You know what I mean? But the thing is, it's just not set in stone. It can vary depending on your approach or the subject that you're dealing with. You know, so it's important to have like a really loose and you know, like a trial and error type of approach when you're sketching things. You know, it's the same thing like in terms of simplifying. See if I can remember a quick tip. People have always asked me also, like, you know, when you're drawing like a brick wall, right? Well, I'm just sketching clouds here. See, that's another thing for sketching clouds. If you can do this, you can draw clouds. Okay, that's all you need, because drawing clouds is really just a matter of varying this. So you may have big one, little one, a medium one, another little one, 2 little ones, a big one, little one, you know, and I just keep building like this. This is how I actually learned how to draw clouds. And then I realized, like, wow, all I have to do is just vary this, you know, like one may be like this, you know, and you just keep doing that, and before you know it, you know, you have clouds. You know, so trying to simplify things, and then you just vary that simplification, and it will give the appearance of something complex. It's just like you can have 3 values, one that's really dark, one that's in the middle, and one that's light. A deep value, middle value, light value. But if you scatter them around, you can eventually get the appearance of something that has more values than it actually does. You know what I mean? And it will actually appear complex. And that's what drawing is. You're using simple things, but the way you arrange them can give the appearance of something a lot more complicated. Now, a quick tip when it comes to drawing bricks, I didn't forget, okay, is, let's say, for example, we sketch a brick wall. And this goes for like when you're drawing buildings and stuff. Actually, I'll give some more tips on drawing buildings. This is a brick wall, right? Now, I wouldn't advise you kill yourself trying to draw every single brick, because sometimes, to be honest, if you're drawing a building, the scale of your drawing and whatever the tool you have may not enable you to draw each brick and have it fit the scale of the building anyway. You know what I mean? Like, that matters. So when I'm drawing bricks, I don't do this. You know, especially if there's some way I can imply or suggest the structure of the contour or the texture of the. See what I did here? Just by doing this gives a feel of the contour of the texture of the bricks or a brick wall. You know what I mean? Instead of just having it straight like this. So that, just like I've said in my other texture tutorials, is that it's important to pay attention to the contour. Have the texture define the contour. Okay, so when it comes to defining the bricks inside, all you need to do is simplify it, and it will suggest it. It's just like implied lines. If I do like this and say, what shape do you see? Well, and I do like this and then say, what shape do you see? More than likely, you know, everybody's going to say they see a triangle. That's because your eyes are connecting this. They're implied lines. I don't need to draw a triangle for you to see a triangle. See, that's a very important principle in drawing. Suggestion, saying more with less. Okay, you don't have to say everything. You just need to imply it. And I've mentioned that in other tutorials already. Just like with movies, you don't need movies that spell everything out. You like the mind likes to figure things out. It's more engaging for us. There's more participation. So the same thing even with a brick wall. You know, you just have, like for example, once I lay in the pattern, like for example, I do like this. All right, like that, like that. See, you sense this here. I don't really need to do this ever again. From here, all I have to do is maybe like this. See, my job is done. See, so I did this by suggestion. By doing this, I make you feel you see, it has a different feel. This looks more realistic than this does. And this is actually paradoxically more realistic because I've shown all the bricks. Here, I've suggested the bricks, but yet your mind feels this is more authentic. See what I mean? And especially if I were to, you know, add another dimension to it here, I would even strengthen the illusion. See what I mean? So you have to think simplifying things. You know, if you're drawing, and that's with bricks, you can apply this to when you're drawing the roof of a house. You know, when you're drawing shingles, it's the same thing. You don't have to draw every single shingle, every single panel. You know, you just imply it. You know, same thing when you're drawing like buildings. You know, if you have a building, and notice what I do sometimes that I leave. I don't connect. It's very important to do that too. You know, I find it very effective. That you don't have to make lines straight and connected all the time. It's good to open things up a little bit because that's how the mind sees. We see everything, but we don't see everything. You know what I mean? We can see it if we focus, but in general we don't. And you kind of treat your drawings the way perception works, you know? So even like with this, you know, all I have to do is kind of like suggest a particular pattern. If I suggest a particular pattern, the brain will take care of the rest for me. See, notice what I'm doing? I don't have to finish these. There may be a door, to say there's a huge door down here, you know, and at the sides, I don't have to. And see, when you draw like this, it makes it a lot more fun, you know, because it's like you're saying so much without saying anything, or saying anything much, but you're saying a lot. This can be a lot much more, you know, much more expressive than having a drawing where you're focusing on getting everything perfect. You know, it's like let's say, actually, just continue this, and let's say I'm doing a street scene where, like, let's say we have, all right, like a vanishing point here, right? So you can have something like this. Say we have another building here. Let's say I'm going to put my vanishing point here, okay? And that's the thing too, even with, you know, and I think this is very important also for training your eyes. You know, I am one who favors, you know, training yourself to make measurements with your eye. You know, you shouldn't measure everything with a ruler. You should train yourself to judge or make or guesstimate, you know, measurements with your eyes. See, this is what I mean by simplifying things, you know? You don't draw everything. You don't have to draw everything. Leave things out. You know, simplify it a little bit. If you're drawing people, the same thing. You're drawing a car, it's the same thing. You don't have to draw a car. Look at this. Let's see. Say this. All right. See that car? I'm going to draw that car. I'm not trying to draw it, you know, to be identical to what it looks like. No, I'm just trying to get a feel for that, you know. This is really good practice to train yourself to be efficient with information. It's not how much, it's the type of quality. You know, like quantity is not quantity, it's quality. So it's not how much information you get, but it's the amount of information you get. And you sometimes wonder, like, how do artists sometimes know how much to draw? Like, you know, you do that by practicing. You practice. You realize, like, okay, enough information is said. Okay, enough information is not said. Maybe I need to put in something else. You know, and you practice that. You do it over again until you get a feeling of like, yeah, I think I got it. And then you realize, like, you know what, your mind takes that information in, and moving forward, when you're drawing cars, your mind, you remember, you know, and your brain registers like, okay. And then before you know it, your style evolves. You see, same thing with people. When I'm sketching people, like if I'm sketching a face, right? I'm gonna use this space to do that. A face, I have my way of doing it so much because I've done it. See, look at that. That looks like a mess, yeah? But it's actually a face, see? The nose is here. Nose, lips, cheek, chin, ear. See, you know, you get to practice things after a while. It builds in your memory, your visual memory, you know? When it comes to sketching people, I just try to get the head, the body, and the legs. Arms are secondary, you know? And see how insane this looks. But if I should group it some more, look at this. Feet, head, body, legs. Can even make a little crowd. And sometimes you don't even, you use what you see as a reference, but you kind of go with where the mind is going. You know, you have to learn to trust your brain. Your mind is a powerful thing, and there's a lot of power in there, but we're taught so much to kind of like keep things in. That's why I love the drawings of children, you know, because they're so raw, so unapologetic. If a child does a drawing and does like this, just something like this, you know, say, what's that? What's that, Mary? That's a purse. That's mom's purse. And they say it with such confidence, you can't question that. All you have left to say is, wow, that's beautiful. You know what I mean? Because the confidence and the boldness that they have in expressing that, you can dare not question it. Because they'll say, look, that's the so-and-so, and that's the so-and-so. And you're like, oh, wow, you know? And you have to accept it. And that's the type of childlike, unadulterated freedom you need when you're sketching. You need to just simplify things, reduce it, and be okay with it. You know, be comfortable with things, because the last thing I'll mention is that it has a sort of abstract quality. You know, it's just like this. There's a certain abstract quality there that we have to accept, but yet it is enough to express what we want to say. You know what I mean? So it's like, shorthand, we're tapping into the unconscious aspect of who we are, expressively, creatively, that communicates in a tacit way. We know what's going on, even though it's not said. You know, it's like when you look at someone and someone looks at you and you're like, you nod your head to each other because, you know, you both understand what's going on. That's what it is. You know, there's an abstract quality to doing certain things that we just understand. And you have to allow yourself. It's there already. You already have the potential. It's already there. You just have to allow yourself to be comfortable with doing it. If you enjoyed the video, you know, are inspired and entertained, learned something, whatever it is, you know, please give the video a thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed already, definitely subscribe, because there's going to be a lot of new videos coming. And thanks so much again, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.